there is an indication that the child may have been medically vulnerable because of past trauma. And instead of doing anything productive to assist that child, they did the worst possible thing you could do. Now, beyond the direct testimony, the photographs in this case, we have hours of Ring camera because the defendant recorded every single moment in that room. And like we said, it's not a continuous stream, it's 1-minute videos related to action. But we have hours of the treatment, of the confinement to prove, to corroborate alone.
You want to take this thing to the next level? Let's do it. Let's do it in Florida too. Let's do it in Florida too. Let's go.
And so you don't have to take extreme that it was dehumanizing. We have the direct evidence of his actions. This is not a concerned father trying to make a reasonable correction to a behavioral issue. This is a man that is angry. This is a man that has actual malice, that has physical aggression and anger, because we see him put his hands on him, throw him on the bed, put his hands on his neck, scream on him, and then turn out the lights. And so his son is in an 8x8 box. The area that you're sitting in is bigger than that. Oh.
Sustain.
You can use your common sense for how big 8 feet is. Alone. And remember, we're looking through a camera that is has some night vision capabilities. Ronan told us what it's like to be in there, that when the lights are off, there is no ambient light. There is no window, that he's sitting in the pitch dark. So let's talk about the application of the evidence to the law. Aggravated child abuse. Malicious means wrongfully, intentionally, and without legal justification. What's in establishing or evaluating what is reasonable punishment? Is it corporal punishment? Things that are generally accepted as being a corporal punishment. A strike on the hand. Hitting a child on the back of their behind in a direct response as a punishment. Reasonable corporal punishment. Reasonable punishment does not subject a child to a risk of harm, and it does not cause actual harm, like the case here. It is not humiliating, dehumanizing, and cruel. It is proportional, and it is limited in duration. So let's talk about the duration here. Continuous. This is ongoing, and I think that's an important delineation here, right? This is not a proportional reaction to a behavior, like a discipline or a punishment. He has no other room in the house. There is no other place for him. Every other space is taken up. The parents have a room. Each of his daughters have this. So there is no situation where he conforms his behavior to whatever standards the defendant wants, and then he is out of the structure in the garage. This is his life, continuous, even in the best case scenario. But we know that it was more insidious than that, because we look at the duration. January 6th, he goes in at 8:10 p.m. That's when they lock up the door for the final time. No more bathroom, no more glasses of water, certainly no snacks. The door's not open until 7:10 in the morning. He's in there for 11 hours overnight. January 8th, he goes in at 9:39 p.m. January 9th, the door is not open again until 8:35 in the morning, 11 hours. January 9th, 8:36 to 7:39. January 10th, 8:36 p.m. until 8:25 a.m., 12 hours. No bathroom, not a drink, not a chance of getting a snack. No way to escape if there is an emergency or a fire. Locked, deadbolted inside. When we look at January 13th, 4:49 p.m. to 6:18 in the morning, 13 hours on a regular basis. And the exhibit that the state showed you, all of the ring videos are in from that entire time period, but then we showed you hours of videos that showed every event. So him going in, and then when they come in again, he gets out. So those are the major blocks, the major events. When they come in, they go in, they out. And those are the numbers that we're talking about. When we look at the total in a day, okay, fine, not just overnight. How much of a 24-hour day is he in the room? On January 10th, he goes to the bathroom between 7:39 and 7:45 a.m., or 7:43, so that's when he's let out. He leaves the room at 9:05. He told us he got left around 9 to go to school. And then he returns to the room at 4:59, so after school. And then he leaves the room to go to the bathroom at 5:56 to 6:18 p.m., and then he's in for the rest of the night. So the total, if we go 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., is 14 hours and 22 minutes of a 24-hour day, and he went to school. Huge portions of this child's life are alone in this room. On January 13th, same thing. He goes out for 2 minutes to go to the bathroom at 7 o'clock in the morning, almost 8. He leaves the room to go to school at 9 o'clock. Back in the room at 4:49. He gets dinner at 7:02 and lights off at 7:26. He's in there for 16 hours. If we're going from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. And he went to school. January 20th, same thing. 6:43 to 6:45. Leaves the room at 9. Back in at 4:45. This time without the lights on. Dinner at 7 p.m. Now, was this every single day? No, because as we look at January 23rd, he gets unlocked, he gets released from the cell his father made for him at 9:07 a.m., and he's not back until 7:10 a.m. So yeah, he's out for most of the day this one day. That doesn't change this, though. The psychological impact. And when we look at the proportionality, it's important to remember that the time frame that we are talking about is the crimes that occurred in Florida. And so that is from December 2021 until January of 2022. You can see the things that he is getting in trouble for on that video. He's getting in trouble for stealing candy on that very first night. You stole chocolate from us, his mom says. Having an iPod in his room. Having a bad attitude. Lying. He tells a story about having a mock trial, and that wasn't true. Dr. Myers told us that kids subjected to this type of condition can have a fantasy life because they have nothing else going on, and so they have to have like a myth of themselves. Those are the things in Florida that he is being subjected to this type of treatment for. And I want to talk a little bit about intent, because there was a lot of discussion from the defense about intent. How do we determine someone's intent? For aggravated child abuse, it has to be that they maliciously punished, willfully tortured, or willfully caged. Those are intentional actions.
All right, we're going to hit the pause button right there. You're noticing the defendant, Tim Ferriter, a little bit more animated at that defense table. And what I'm wondering right now is what he would have said had he taken the stand. With us this hour in Texas is homicide detective Phil Waters. Now, what people may not realize about you, my friend, thanks for being on the program. Not only are you in a lot of documentaries, but you have a 90% confession rate when you interview suspects. What would you have asked him on the stand there?
Well, hey, Matt, it's great to be with you. It's good seeing you at CrimeCon. Had a good time there. And I would tell you, it's interesting to watch him. It's always interesting to watch these defendants when they're sitting at the table and they're hearing these closing arguments, because their body language is pretty accentuated and animated, and he's no different. So, you know, the questions that I would be asking of him is, I would start out wanting to know what about him. I would be doing a psychological autopsy in reference to how did he grow up? What's his background? What was his relationship with his parents, and so forth and so on, to get a baseline as to what might explain this type of behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. You bring up a great point there. And this prosecutor now driving home the point that a lot of the times they looked like an ordinary family, and what happened behind closed doors is the reason why we were here. So, Phil Waters, thank you for being with us today. But we're going to pick up on more of the closing statements there from the state when we return from this short break.
There's a tragic outcome in this case.
Civil trial that is the focus of the Netflix documentary Take Care of Maya.
How a misdiagnosis tore their family apart.
They continue to accuse Jack and Beata of being child abusers.
Jack called me and said Beata just hung herself.
Is the hospital they're suing responsible for what happened?
The Take Care of Maya trial. Trial coverage today on Court TV.
And we are following breaking news involving the arrest of former NFL player Sergio Brown. He's now facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of his mother. Moments ago, we received this mugshot from the Maywood, Illinois Police Department. We're told Brown was taken into custody yesterday in San Diego, California, after being deported from Mexico. He's currently awaiting extradition to Illinois, where his mother was killed. Police discovered the body of 73-year-old Myrtle Brown last month after relatives told police they'd been unable to reach her or her son. Her body was later found near a creek behind her home. The medical examiner determined that she died from injuries related to an assault and ruled her death a homicide. Keep it right here with Court TV, online and on air, as we continue to follow this developing story. Back to the boy in the box trial, where defendant Tim Ferriter did not testify in his own defense. The 48-year-old father of four is being tried on charges he abused his teenage son by locking him for several hours in a box-like structure built in the family garage. Let's get you back into court, where the continuation of the state's closing arguments.
Were intentional, that he intentionally and purposely put him in that room, in that structure.
Objection, misstatement of the law.
Overruled.
That it wasn't an accident. That's the intention. That he willfully tortured, that he maliciously punished. Not every idea that was in his head. So how do we determine as a jury intent? We look to the evidence. You can make reasonable inferences from the evidence, and we look to his actions and then the things that he said in those circumstances. So let's look at the defendant's actions. That he did not give the victim a room in the house. He hired a contractor specifically to build this. He specified no windows, 8x8, lights controlled from the outside, lock, and a deadbolt from the outside. No bathroom, and he put that bucket in there. Each one of those steps are intentional, specific, deliberate acts. It's not an accident that this happened like this. We know exactly what he intended to do to his son. He set up the room. He put the camera in there. And then he forced the child to use a bucket. This is a screenshot from January 19th at 6:46 a.m. where he has to use the bucket. He had been in the room since 9:12 p.m. the night before. And this happened again and again. And in the morning, on one of the videos, you can hear the defendant tell him to take out the bucket and say, your neighbors don't need to see your piss bucket. From the outside, everything looked okay, but what was happening inside that room was abuse. We see that the defendant's repeated actions to socially and physically isolate the child over and over and over again for alone in his room eating. And Dr. Myers told you about the impact of that type of social and physical isolation. His actions to take away every little step and bit of autonomy that he had no control over the temperature even in the room.
Okay.
Did you turn the air on in your room?
Yes.
Are you supposed to touch that?
Did you hear Baba?
Yes.
Did you hear his question?
No.
Are you supposed to touch air conditioning?
No.
Why did you touch it?
She was getting hot.
You're a tough guy. You don't touch the air conditioning. I'll deal with you tomorrow on that.
You know, in opening statement, defense counsel said that there was just a design flaw in the room. It's not a flaw. These are intentional choices This is what he wanted to happen. This is what the environment that he intentionally subjected his son to. An environment that no reasonable person would think was appropriate or acceptable. And then after they have that conversation, both parents come in and ransack the room again and leave him with even less stuff sitting in the room. We have the defendant's actions, his choice that not only would he substantially socially and physically isolate his son, but that they had to subject him to hours of sitting in the dark.
So got bad attitude? Yeah. Oh, you're so tough. You're gonna say yeah? You're gonna hold it out? Yeah, bad attitude. Tough guy. Tough guy. What's this here?
What we have here is anger and derision. We have spite, and we want to cause him harm. That's why you're not trying to address behavior. What you're trying to do is maliciously punish him and make him sit in a dark cell for hours during the day. When we look at, oops, I have one more. This one. This is a few minutes later.
So got bad attitude? Yeah. Oh, you're so tough. You're gonna say yeah? You're gonna hold it out? Yeah, bad attitude. Tough guy. Tough guy. What's this here? Bad attitude? Yeah. All right.
So when we're talking about like the reasonableness of the punishment, like look what he's doing that for there. He has a bad attitude. His 14-year-old son has a bad attitude, and that's why he gets to be locked in a room with no lights, which to talk to, Dr. Myers told us it's the same as solitary confinement, something that is universally condemned for most humans, but certainly for children, because of the psychological harm that that type of treatment caused. And we can see about how often that type of thing is happening. The camera is installed in the room on January 5th. That's the very first video we watched. And we went through each of these. We see that on January 9th at 8:36 p.m. They're mad at him, he's in the dark. No ambient light, a 4x4 room. On January 10th at 6:18 to 7:06, again, dark. On January 11th, 4:45 to 8 o'clock at night, and he doesn't get dinner that night because they're mad.
Ms. Coakley, pull the mic up because it's a recording issue for you.
Because they're mad. No dinner. On January 13th, again, 4:49 to 7:02, 2.5 hours in the dark in the middle of the day. And then they come in, and at 7:55 again for the rest of the night, pitch dark, no ambient light, not a window, 8x8. On January 14th, again, 4:49 to 7:02, he is sitting alone in the dark. Like Dr. Myers said, systemic, ongoing psychological torture of a child. January 15th, 5:04 to 7:32, 2.5 hours more in the dark. On January 19th, 7:45 p.m., those lights get switched off again. On January 20th, 4:45 to 5:51. January 24th at 7:08 p.m., he's in the dark. And then January 28th is the last day. It's the day that he runs away. The defendant made deliberate, intentional actions. He put his child, a child that he knew was vulnerable because of his early childhood experiences, into this circumstance. Every single night, for periods of time during the day, he locked the door over and over and over again and didn't allow him to even control the temperature. His only option was to use the bathroom in a bucket, and he had no access to water on multiple occasions.